The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
God is a solution. God, the 12-step.
I like where he's going here.
Helps the community grow, helps us grow.
Monty has done a phenomenal job. And you're talking about taking people through a spiritual process and getting them into recovery.
Thanks, Monty, and thanks for all your support.
We need spirituality to make this thing work long term.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
And now, broadcasting on location somewhere in the vast expanse of the Pacific Northwest, it's the over-opinionated 12-stepologist, the Monty'man.
Well, greetings, everyone. I am your host, the Monty'man. Welcome to another episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. I am bringing to you right now an episode from the best of Take 12 Recovery Radio because currently I'm in surgery having cataracts removed. Listen, this is a great episode. It's entitled Making and Losing Friends While in Recovery. And on this episode are my two dear friends and co-hosts, Denver Wolf and Marv Ramsey, both who have gone on to be with the Lord since this show aired, and I miss them every day. They were such a huge part of Take 12 Recovery Radio and still are. So let's go ahead and jump into the discussion where I'm asking Marv a question. How long have you been doing the 12-step meeting thing? How many years?
All total, pretty close to 40.
Pretty close to 40.
Yeah, but I don't have that amount of sobriety time.
But you've been attending, the recovery community, in attendance with the recovery community for that long. And so in that time, you've seen people pass away, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just from natural causes as well from complications due to their own addictive behaviors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right? You've made some friends. You've lost some friends. Denver? Denver?
Yeah.
That is your name, right?
Yeah, I'm still Denver.
You've made some friends and seen some friends pass away. And
I have.
And have lost some friends.
I have.
Have you lost any friends due to complications surrounding around addictive use disorder? Or?
No, not... Yeah, I have.
Have you?
It's been a while, but yes, I have.
Yeah.
And I'm in the midst of, some right now that are going through some heavy-duty complications. I was involved with Teen Challenge, and I've seen folks leave that program and go out and not return. So,
yeah, leave prematurely. Some have actually graduated and not made it
right
as well. Yeah. Well, I thought I'd read just for the heck of it here while I'm making everybody dizzy on the camera. If you search the internet, you'll find all sorts of descriptions of all different kinds of friends and acquaintances and people that you run into. But I picked 5, and I'll just run through these really, really quick. And this isn't just limited to people in recovery. This is just people in general. These are the 5 types of friends. Number 1, the loyal best friend. Sometimes a loyal best friend is the only thing you need to stay sane. Everyone needs a non-judgmental friend who will support them no matter what. This is the kind of friend who lets you be a hot mess and knows all of your deepest and darkest secrets, but still loves you all the same. Ever had a friend like that? Marv?
I don't think so.
Ever had a friend like
Oh, I probably have, yeah.
Maybe not even known it.
Right.
Sure. Denver?
Yeah, I probably have.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's one: the brutally honest confidant.
We don't keep those.
Do you have a brutally honest confidant, listeners? There are certain situations in life where we need to hear the harsh truth. That's what the brutally honest confidant is for. If you're in a rocky relationship and everyone's telling you that it's perfectly normal that you're back with the special someone for the 8th time in the last 2 years, the brutally honest confidant is there to yank your rose-colored glasses off your face and tell you enough. Stop with all the breakup and get back together dramas. You deserve better. Friends are supposed to be honest with each other. If you find someone who is brutally honest with you in a constructive way, then hold on to that person. People like that are hard to come by these days. I think the reason that the author of this uses a relationship problem is because those are the ones that we usually tell most people, keep your nose out of my business. But the brutally honest confidant might not do that. You might just say, you're going down a path that is going to be destructive. And we need to have people like that in our life.
Well, we need to know where they're coming from, too. I have a guy like that, but I've known him so long, I know where he's coming from. It's from, most of the time, a spiritual aspect.
Sure.
And even though I don't want to hear what he's got to say, I can hear it because I know quite a bit about where he's coming from. And it's not greater than thou attitude or anything like that. The guy's coming from a place where he actually sincerely cares.
Yeah.
And he can lay it on me once in a while.
And he has your best interest at heart, right?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. So even though it's uncomfortable, it's something you can listen to and chew on it and consider.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Denver?
I think the biggest thing is being able to, like Marv says, take a hold of the reality of that. Don't let that get personal where, I think, oh, he's just picking on me. So,
sure.
Yeah, I've had a few tell me, and it's very uncomfortable, but it did save, obviously, me some heartache, and it saved a couple friendships.
Yeah.
Because they were honest, and when I settled myself down to the fact that they're just telling me the truth,
sure,
then, I could accept it.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, number 3, a wise mentor. It has been said, never look down on someone unless you're helping them up. If you have someone smart, inspiring, and admirable in your life who practices this philosophy, you're extremely lucky. We all need a friend who inspires us to be better people without making us feel inadequate. Plus, being around such a person will challenge us to better ourselves every day. The wise mentor in your life doesn't have to be someone who shares the same occupation or hobbies with you. It's simply someone who's a few steps ahead of you in life and has enough wisdom and patience to guide you in the right direction. It can be anyone, a colleague, a friend who's beyond their years, or an older neighbor. Maybe it's your sponsor. Hopefully, if you're in 12-step recovery, your sponsor is a few steps ahead of you in their recovery, perhaps even in their step work. Hopefully, they're not behind you because you're kind of following their lead. Number 4, this is rough, a polar opposite. We humans are hardwired to get together in groups and attack outsiders. The human pack mentality, if you will. If you only develop friendships with others who follow the same belief and customs and values as you do, chances are you're somewhat detached from the rest of the world, and you're more likely to perpetuate stereotypes on anyone who holds a different worldview from you. I guess you could call these cliques, right? Or what they're calling now, people nowadays are calling them the tribe mentality, where people stick to their own tribe. They really don't let anybody else in that has any kind of other worldview than they do. Conservatives hang with conservatives, liberals hang with liberals, Christians hang with Christians, Muslims hang with Muslims. But in the recovery community, right, we are a mixed bag, right, Marv?
Totally
a mixed bag.
Yes.
And if we can't go on campouts, go on picnics, go to conventions, at the very least, meet in the same meeting room and have coffee together and discuss the process of the 12 steps in recovery without our anxiety levels getting all out of whack, we're kind of in trouble. So I think sometimes having a friend that is a polar opposite can help us with that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the last one here is a work pal. A friend at work. Do you know that with a full-time job, you spend at least 50% of your waking hours at work? Not only that, but you spend some more time commuting to work, thinking about work, working overtime, and furthering your career on your personal time. Statistics show that the more isolated you are at work, the more depressed you'll get. That's why it makes sense to get a work pal to chat with at the water cooler and to help you get through the week. You spend 50% of your waking hours at work, and so does your pal. You'll find it much easier to shoot the breeze and complain about work with someone. I like that part. Complain about work with someone who can relate to you than eating lunch alone every day. Your work pal doesn't have to be your best friend outside of work. They just need to be someone you click with on the same level. That works fine if you're working in an environment with other people. Denver, you kind of work alone, right?
Yeah, but I work with a great crew.
Right.
I'm an hour early. We sit and visit and solve a lot of the world's problems in an hour.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm able to split up, and I have pretty much the whole run of the place for the evening, unless I need help.
Do you prefer work by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
In my trade, I did work by myself, automotive painting. I didn't have anybody. I had worked behind people that their work needed to come in proper to me. But yeah, I've always worked by myself. I don't like having to manage others while I work either.
Sure.
It's not productive for me. So yeah, I'm a work alone kind of guy.
Yeah. Now Marv, you're retired. So
yes.
But you actually worked a lot alone, did you not? And taking care of horses and stuff?
Yeah, that's why I got into that. Part of the reason.
Because you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been a joiner or a team player type person.
Yeah.
I suspect kind of like Denver in a way.
Sure.
Just. But I had to change my ideas about that also.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. Because somewhere along the line, I discovered that God never meant us to be alone.
To be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle through the years.
Sure.
I'm still have social problems.
Yeah.
Not anything where I'm going to blow up a room or anything like that.
I'm glad you told us all that.
Yeah.
Disclaimer,
but
folks.
Just kind of, on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But I'm, I think I'm better than what I used to be.
So speaking to the topic of making losing friends while in recovery, we've talked about friends, some different kinds of friends. We have, there's best friends, close friends, acquaintances, people that we're polite to, probably wouldn't go golfing with them or even necessarily go to coffee with them. But when we see them, we're cordial and we might call them a friend or just an acquaintance. Has it been, let me ask you, Marv, has it been difficult for you to make friends since you've been in recovery, or has it been easier?
It was in the beginning.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't, in the very beginning, I had problems.
Mm-hmm.
I was the guy sitting with my back to the wall and kind of staying away from everybody. But
sure.
Like I said, God kind of showed me that He didn't really design us to be that way. And so eventually, I was, my wife and I were doing Bible studies for alcoholics.
Uh-huh.
And, we did that about 3 years. And when I got into training for the public, training horses for the public, I had to deal with people.
Oh, right.
Before, I was just buying and selling on my own,
Yeah.
So, but it was a slow process.
Yeah.
I don't know that I answered your question.
No, you did. You did. What about you, Denver? Since you got clean and sober, was it easier or harder to make friends?
I've never really had a problem making acquaintances.
Okay.
You use the word friends, but
yeah,
I have a lot of acquaintances. It's not difficult for me sober or when I was drinking. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you can be friendly to people, and they're not really your friend.
Yeah, we're not going to go out and have coffee, or I'm not going to call you on the phone and talk for an hour.
Yeah.
But for 5 minutes at a sale or something like that, I pick up friends. I go to a meeting. I pick up friends. Just general public at the waiting line someplace.
Yeah.
I'll strike up a conversation, or they do with me. I don't know. It comes natural.
Have you ever run into one of those guys who seems a little needy and he wants to be your best buddy and you're not really interested?
Yeah. Yeah, I do all the time.
I do too.
It's like, no, we're not going to be friends. You're not coming over.
You're just going to crush them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's a cold hard fact.
Right.
I really do love being alone, and people know that I do sales and things like that, these craft sales I do, and I love just spending a little time during the course of the day meeting 100 different people. We go to these recovery shows. I meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
But they're in small doses. I love my alone time. It's not isolation. Sure. It's me time.
Yeah. But you do enjoy going on these events and meeting
I love
people
it.
And people watching. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Marv, you ever had one of those Klingons?
Yeah.
He's kind of flopping around like a puppy dog. And you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you just want to slap them.
Yeah, I've been there.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Yeah, so not all the time is the friendship both ways. I mean, in fact, truth be known, most friendships are a little one-sided. One will put a little more effort into the relationship than the other one. And in a healthy exchange like that, it's okay with that person. They're not bothered by it. I was always one that would initiate letters or phone calls a little bit more than my other friend, growing up. And after you get out of high school, you go your separate ways. Sometimes you move out of, to another town, that kind of thing. And I had some close friends in high school that I would keep in contact with, but I kind of initiated the continuing contact, And I learned very quickly that if that was going to bother me, then that was kind of my loss. But most friendships are like that, just a little bit. Anyway,
I think a lot of the idea of friendship has a lot to do with where you come from.
Your background?
Yeah. I know one of the big blockades for me, I was raised at the children's farm home.
Right.
And us kids, we had this deal, and what it was loyalty. And somehow or another, I got that mixed up by the time I became a young adult.
Right.
And I had a lot of misunderstandings about what was going on because I had this concept of loyalty. I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So if people weren't loyal, kick them in the butt and out the door they go. And I learned that I was mistaken greatly.
Sure.
By that.
Well, it's kind of a thwarted view of what loyalty is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where we come from, our experience has a lot to do with how we form friendships, I think.
You bet. You bet. So I've made, and it's reflected in the literature in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It talks about we've made a host of friends. We talk about in some of the 12-step gatherings that we are folks that would not normally mix, and we're surprised that we do. Imagining being in those same settings with those same people in using and drinking environments, that's a destructive thought. It was interesting when I was at the AA World Convention in San Antonio, Texas, several years ago. I was up in the observatory thing, I guess you could call it, like the Space Needle of San Antonio, and looking down, and there were so many people You literally could not see where a street started and a sidewalk began. It was that packed. In fact, the city of San Antonio said it was the largest convention of people they had ever had in their entire history. And I was thinking, can you imagine all of those people under the influence at the same time? I mean, what a mess, right? And yet we have way more than that under the influence at the same time at any given time throughout the country. It's just spread out.
We're not together.
We're not together. Right. Well, as it goes with friends who are best friends and brutally honest confidants and mentors and sponsors, and we talked about, hopefully, if you have a sponsor at some point, you do become friends. It isn't always wise to take your best friend and have them be your sponsor, but hopefully your sponsor does become a close friend at some point. And then we have our friends at work. But we lose friends too, right? I mean, you can't be in the rooms of recovery and not watch people go in and out like a revolving door. Sometimes we get close to them and they disappear. And it's heartbreaking. And then we read about them in the paper. Sometimes they move on. They move to a different town. Sometimes they just pass away because it's their time. Like our friend Bruce, my former sponsor. And it is what it is. And sometimes people leave our lives and we have no idea why. It's the weirdest thing. They just walk out of our life. They don't say anything. They don't talk to us anymore. We try to approach them and try to find out what the heck happened, and they don't want to go there. What do you do with that? I mean, what do you do with any of these things? So let's chime in on this. Marv, what's been your experience with losing friends in recovery?
Well, the problem with asking me that question is because I have this personality defect that will slam the door and heck with it. That's it.
And when somebody...
Yeah. But even that, God has chosen to crumble that into pieces, and now I find that it does bother me.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. I had the ability to just shut you off. That was it. I was probably one of them guys that walked out of somebody's life and had the heck with you, you know.
You just got tired of their knuckleheadedness and just said, I'm done with this guy.
Well, who knows what kind of fantasies I had going on between my ears, you know. But it had to do with very dysfunctional thinking. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
But, you know, what I was going to say, too, is it's not really directed towards your question, but there's something else that goes on in these meetings that I've been trying to get a hold of, figured out. There's people that come in there, and you don't know them from Adam, and maybe they'll come in for 2 or 3 meetings, and all of a sudden you have this affinity for these people.
Right.
There's this something that happens. For me, what happens, they walk through the door, and I'm just so tickled to see them. And I don't really even know them.
You never even maybe met them before?
Never met them before in the meeting.
Yeah.
It's the way they talk about what's going on in their life, maybe, or something. But it's there. But I never hardly become friends with them. It's weird. As far as having coffee.
Right.
And,
but from a distance, you admire them and you enjoy their company when they're in the room.
Yeah.
And,
so what happened a few years ago, there was a young man, he was probably 40. I was probably in my 50s at the time. He come in and he was just full of life. This guy was bubbling about, but I mean, good quality humor and just something about him, you know. And And he come in and he talked about that the doctor told him that he better quit drinking. He's going to die. he did that twice. And he'd laugh and, and well, the third time he died.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was gone just that quick.
Wow.
He'd went out drinking and his liver couldn't take it. And I felt a great loss over that guy, even though I really wasn't a friend like we're talking about.
Yeah.
But there was this affinity there with this guy.
I understand.
Okay.
I do. As a matter of fact, I just got an email. It came in at 2 a.m. this morning. And when I woke up this morning at 6, I looked on my phone, and I was informed that one of the interns where I work, who hasn't been an intern very many months, is quitting his internship and moving back home. That's all I know. And he's one of these kind of guys. I took an instant liking to him. When he works a shift with me, I like it. I enjoy it. He's just got one of those personalities. You just want to be around the guy. I don't know that I'd ever even go out to dinner with him.
Right.
Because our work schedules is, when we're together, it's work. But he's one of those guys, and my heart just kind of sunk. It was like, no, really? Yeah. Seriously? Nah, I don't like that. I don't want that to happen, Yeah. And I don't know why. I have no idea why he's leaving it. Maybe that it's just time for him to do that. I mean, it's part of his journey. I have no idea. There's no judgment here on that. It's just, but I get exactly what you're saying because I haven't even known him that long, But I'm fond of him, and I don't want to not see him because I look forward to seeing him.
By the way, that has happened with women too, for me. Not that I'm,
romantically.
I'm not romantically, involved or on a date or anything, but there's some women that come in there that just have this something about them.
Sure.
And it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I never used to think along those lines at all.
About members of the opposite sex being a friend?
No, I mean about I was so closed off.
Oh, okay.
That I wasn't ever open to, it was either black and white personality. I either liked you or I didn't. That's it.
Yeah.
Much to my own chagrin.
Sure. What does that mean anyway, chagrin? Do we know?
Well,
yeah, Marv. What does that mean?
Well, disappointment, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a...
Yeah. So, losing friends.
You were testing me, weren't you?
Yeah, I was testing you.
He led you right into that.
Right outside of the studio here today, I took the blower and I was blowing leaves and stuff out of the way.
You didn't make no friends then, did you?
No. Well, there's some snakes that live right underneath, some garter snakes that live right underneath the front door here. And they like, when it's warm out, they like to come out in sun, right? And I saw one of them. He was going back in because it was wet and cold. And I immediately went to, I think it's you that said, do snakes have laps?
Yeah.
Yeah. I reflected on that.
Do they have what?
Laps. Like a lap. Like when you sit down, you have a laptop, put it on your lap. Do snakes have laps?
That's a good question. One of them I probably hadn't thought of. Good question.
I don't know where he comes up with these things. But losing friends in the, I had a friend who, we were friends for a very long time, in my 12-step home group, and his fiance, for whatever reason, still unbeknownst to me, did not like me. Sometimes people just don't like you. That's just the way it is.
Right.
They just don't. They're not going to tell you why. They just don't like you. Sometimes we don't like people. We don't even know why. We just don't like them. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason.
It's that aura thing that you spoke of.
That works in the other way, right?
It's the opposite of what he's speaking of, because I felt both in my lifetime.
Yeah.
There's just a certain vibe, magic, or something about somebody that strikes your fancy, or it doesn't.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily anything personal. You don't even know why. I just don't like that guy or gal. Well, she just didn't like me. She may have had reasons. She wasn't going to share them with me, but you just got to go, okay, well, they got married. And I asked the guy, I said, so I asked him something about coming to his wedding, and he let me know that by no uncertain terms, well, he kind of said it in a roundabout. We're having a very small personal wedding. Okay, I get what you're saying. Then I found out that there was all these people there. There was tons of people from that particular fellowship that attended. And I...
Just not you.
No, just not me. And for a while, I got to tell you, I was butthurt.
Yeah.
I was butthurt about it. And the guy, other than being cordial, I think maybe one time on social media he said hello or something. Other than that, he has never spoken to me again. And I you know what? With something like that, you lose a friend like that, you just got to, if you're going to survive it, you just got to say, oh, well, and keep going forward. I mean, it's going to happen. If you're going to live any years at all in this world, you're going to have people in your life that walk out of your life. And you may never know why. And I got to tell you, if it's going to send you out back to drinking and using, that's not on them. You know, that shows your quality of recovery. But it happens. I had a friend, an old drinking buddy. We were friends. He was my best friend in my mind. And we knew each other for years and years and years and years. He got sober before I did. He got married before I did. I got sober, then I got married. And I had these grandiose ideas that we would both have kids and the kids would grow up and we'd be backpacking together, and we didn't work out like that. He wrote me a Dear Monty letter one day and said, I can't have nothing to do with you anymore. You know, because our relationship before that was toxic and he couldn't recover from it. And so I learned that if I really cared about my friend, that I would respect his decision and let it be. And other than to inform him of another friend of ours that had passed away a few years ago, I haven't been in contact with him. And it's okay. It's okay. It has to be okay. It doesn't feel okay. I miss him, but it's okay. I've been involved in groups of people that weren't recovery focused, but maybe a Bible study kind of thing. And just recently, a whole bunch of them have decided that they're pretty much disassociating themselves with my wife and I. Not sure why. It just is what it is. There are seasons for everything. And if you let it take you out, you're going to be in trouble. Because I think a lot of these times when we lose folks, whether it's in death, whether it's in resentment, whatever it's in, or just moving on, we have a golden opportunity to apply the principles of our recovery to our lives to be able to rise above it and move forward. And it's never easy. It's difficult. The host of friends that I've made has been, I got to tell you, I'm so blessed. I don't have enough fingers and toes. The people that are in my life that I consider confidants and people that I trust and people that I would have no problem giving my house key to. You know, there's just more than my share. I've been very, very blessed. From co-hosts to friends within the Adult Teen Challenge Ministry, to friends that I went to concerts with growing up, things like that. I mean, there's just a lot. But let's talk about losing friends a little bit, Denver. So what about you, man? Have you lost some people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big scale. Have I lost people in my life? Yes, I have. From the point of I had to cut ties with some associates, friends,
right,
if you will, longtime friends, through my drug addiction years. I've had to cut that. I've lost friends due to my abuse of friendship. I've lost friends due to death. I've lost friends due to changing of seasons. I love I love the term changing of seasons because I go through a lot of seasons, and I know everybody else does.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you'll lose them, and then you maybe hook back up with them, and it's not the same. It's not quite the same. We're still friends, but
something's different.
Yeah, we don't share the same cosmic vibe that we used to have
I like
together.
that, the cosmic vibe, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've had a lot of people come and go in my life, and some by choice, some by not, some by mine, and some by theirs. It's life.
Does it get, I don't know if the word easier, and I'll ask either one of you, I don't know if that's the right word, but I'll use it anyway. Does it get easier to move on from a loss than it used to? Does it impact you less, or?
I believe, for me, yeah, it's. I don't want to say I'm a door slammer, but I've been a door slammer. You know what? When I've had enough, I've had enough.
Sure.
And I'm done.
Sure.
And I probably still have that capability in me.
Right.
I don't use it much because I don't probably get myself into that situation with people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll steer clear of that if I can. I maybe sense that this is not going to be good for me or them, so let's just keep it as see ya.
Yeah.
I hope you're the best, but I don't think we ought to hang around.
Marv, does it get easier to walk through a loss than it did before, or is it the same?
Well, I'm going to throw a little hitch pin in here.
Yeah.
It got easier for me when I became quicker to forgive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Right.
And not that I'm able to all the time, but the lingering on of these resentments and hurts and all that, when I was able to forgive, that got less.
Interesting, because I'm gonna be real honest with you. At some point, with some of these folks, it became easier for me because I had become a door slammer, not because I was learning how to forgive. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm learning how to say heck with you.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I wouldn't do that. I'd let it linger, hoping beyond hope that it would all be mended and everything would be great. And then I got to a point where I started getting callous, and I thought, well, heck with you. And it wasn't affecting me. It was like, I'm fine with that. I think that's changed somewhat, but
I think that's boundaries.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with boundaries.
It has a lot to do with boundaries.
Sure.
The other thing I'd like to say real quick, too, is just because, I don't know how anybody else feels, but just because somebody might have become, for lack of words, an enemy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean what AA has taught me through the years. It doesn't mean if those people are in a bind, bad, I help them.
You bet.
Whether I like them or not.
You bet.
And that's one thing that's a big change for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
To like the unlikable.
Yeah.
It does. In fact, I will tell you, I was in, of all places, I was at church yesterday, and I saw this guy. He wasn't necessarily, he never was a friend. He was somebody I knew through another organization who had really done a lot of people wrong. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I saw him at church. And my immediate thought, I'll just be real honest, my immediate thought was, what the heck are you doing here? You jerk. And I recognized I was thinking that way almost immediately. And I thought, man, what a horrible attitude, right? And then I looked at him again. He was down towards the right of me, didn't see me. And I couldn't get this thing out of my head because the last time I saw him, he was making some very destructive choices that affected a lot of people. And I couldn't get that out of my head. And then the service closed, and which is customary at our church, is they have a time when people go down in front for prayer. And this guy got up and he went down, and I saw him put his arm around this other guy and start praying for him. That was it. I was like, oh, Monty. Right? And then somebody started praying for him. I don't know what he's going through. I haven't seen him in a year.
Right.
What the heck was I thinking? And I had to literally repent and say, God, I'm sorry, for feeling like that. But that's kind of part of the human condition, right?
You bet.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. But I'm so grateful that my recovery has taught me to be able to recognize that stuff and kind of, run it off at the past, so to speak, before it's too late.
Yeah.
Wow. So, any closing thoughts? Denver, camera's on you. Hi, Denver.
Yeah, I ain't really got nothing.
Wow.
I just wanted to say that on camera.
I got nothing.
Yeah, friends come and go. So I'm so thankful for the friends that I have now in my life.
Sure.
And I'm thankful for the ones I had back then. It's all been part of the walk to recovery, the walk to get to know Jesus, the walk of the struggles and everything else that goes on in life.
Right.
All these people have had some kind of influence on me. So,
yeah. In fact, there are some people that I didn't care for that actually blessed me and they didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because of something they said, something they did.
Maybe turned me the different way.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be there with them.
Yeah. You bet.
So.
You bet. Marv, closing thoughts?
Yeah, Marv.
Okay. We're supposed to love everybody. Some by coming and some by going.
Yeah. Some coming in the door, some going out.
Right. I love it. All right. So this poem's been around for quite some time, and it's very appropriate. When my friend of 25 years, who I thought was my best friend, when that relationship ended, it really crushed me for a while. And then I read this poem, and it was like it mended the whole thing in my heart. And maybe some of you have lost a friend. Maybe it's through death. Maybe they just stopped talking to you. Maybe you don't even know why. I want you to consider what this says, and we're going to close with this before we go into our closing song this week. It's called Reason, Season, or Lifetime. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. When you figure out which one it is, you will know what to do for each person. When someone is in your life for a reason, it is usually to meet a need you have expressed. They have come to assist you through a difficulty, to provide you with guidance and support, to aid you physically, emotionally, or spiritually. They may seem like a godsend, and they are. They are there for the reason you need them to be. Then, without any wrongdoing on your part, or at an inconvenient time, this person will say or do something to bring the relationship to an end. Sometimes they die. Sometimes they walk away. Sometimes they act up and force you to take a stand. What we must realize is that our need has been met, our desire fulfilled, their work is done. The prayer you sent up has been answered, and now it's time to move on. Some people come into your life for a season because your turn has come to share, grow, or learn. They bring you an experience of peace or make you laugh. They may teach you something you have never done. They usually give you an unbelievable amount of joy. Believe it, it's real, but it's only for a season. Well, lifetime relationships teach you lifetime lessons, things you must build upon in order to have a solid emotional foundation. Your job is to accept the lesson, love the person, and put what you have learned to use in all other relationships and areas of your life. It is said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant. The author of that is unknown. But when I heard that, it all made sense. So whether you have made some great friends and everything's real stable, or whether you've lost some, I guarantee you probably will make more friends. You may even lose some more friends, but you're going to be okay if you follow the principles in those 12 steps, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing the next right thing, and surround yourself with people that maybe you don't even necessarily like, but you know they're good for you because of some of the things that God is speaking in and through them. You're going to be okay. Our closing song is by an old professor of mine, Mr. Jim Crane, and it's entitled, I'll Be Your Friend. Here's Jim.
Being your friend is the way I say I love you. Smiling at you is the way I like to show you. When you're weak, I'll be strong for you. When you're sad, I'll be crying too. When you're low, I'll be down with you. I'll be a friend. Touching your hand is such a tender way to say it. Catching your eye is such a silent way to shout it. When you're alone, I'll be your company. If you're confused, I'll help you see. When you're away, think of me, I'll be your friend. Friends are hard to find these days. You can get hurt in so many ways. Come on now and let me reassure you. It's hard to believe, yes I know, when someone says I love you so, but oh, I really, really do. Friend is the way I say I love you. Smiling at you is the way I like to show you. When you're weak, I'll be strong for you. When you're sad, I'll be crying too. When you're low, I'll be down with you. I'll be your friend. I'll be your friend, yeah. I'll be your friend. I'll be your friend.
I'll Be Your Friend by Mr. Jim Crane. For more of Jim's great music, visit him on CD Baby. You can get his music there. Go to cdbaby.com and type in Jim Crane, Crain. All right. What are you? Are you a friend, a foe, or one of those other folks? Something to think about. Until next time, this is the Monty'man along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Yeah, kitty, 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 meow.
It's the Monty'man here, and I've got a request for you. We really need your help to carry the message of Take 12 Recovery Radio. Would you please, when this broadcast is through, please like or share or copy the link and send it to somebody that you know that you think would get something out of it, maybe even help them in their recovery journey. Listen, the only way that Take 12 Recovery Radio has been able to reach the people that we have reached over the 19 years of broadcasting is by word of mouth. We can't always depend on social media to get the job done. So we're turning to you, our listeners, to spread the message. All you have to do is remember our website, take12radio.com. Let people know, share the message, and be part of the solution. Thank you, and God bless.